Yeah, sorry, I was mute.
There it
I
is.
hope
All right.
you can see my screen now.
I can see it. Take it away.
Does it move back and
Yep.
forth?
Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year's to everybody. Thank you for the Advanced Air Mobility Institute, especially Dan Slout, Amir, and you, David, to moderate these sessions. We had a great sessions already yesterday and this morning as well. And I look forward to get you a snapshot very quickly about what's going on in France, since I am the liaison France for this institute. France is, first of all, an aerospace ecosystem, which is known within our industry. We were pioneering aerospace years ago, decades ago, and centuries ago. And today, we are hosting in the country some leader airframer like Airbus, Dassault Airbus helicopters. This is not the topic of today's. And their major systems leader and all their sub-suppliers, which makes a very fertile ecosystem, also including high school and engineering school, etc. That is, in certain extent, fostering some innovations and initiatives towards a greener and more sustainable aviations in urban air mobility and regional air mobility, which are slightly different, as you know. And Darrell was mentioning the difference before, and I am happy to be on the same line as you are. Briefly, I am more a guys from the airframe technology and the platforms, which is flown. Therefore, I will more maybe focus on the platforms themselves rather than the ecosystem, the vertiports, the charging stations, and so on. This is the beauty of the Advanced Air Mobility Institute, to bundle a kind of personalities and respective expertise and so on. But nevertheless, I will try to have a global overview. In terms of platform, you see that we are at least here 7 quite interesting platforms that are tackling from urban air mobility to mostly regional air mobility. We spoke about already last conference, and we will continue all over the 6 months rhythm, because progress are on all those platforms. I was putting also a new one in EU, not since they are new, but because I forgot them, and I apologize by them to have forgotten this, which is a versatile and amphibious blended wing body. You have seen maybe on the global economy that's, for example, Jet Zero is developing a large plane with a blended body structure and so on. And I will give you later on some update on each and every of those platforms. In terms of public sentiment, last summer, we were touching base the Olympic Games and the fact that Volocopter and their partner in terms of operations, Aéroport de Paris, was targeting to fly on some corridors that you can see on my screen, from Paris-Charles de Gaulle to Le Bourget regional or private aviation airport, down to floating vertiport that was installed indeed near the Austerlitz stations. The idea was to fly over the same corridor to connect also with the vertiport and heliport from Issy-les-Moulineaux, where the normal helicopter operations are made, with some restrictions, as Jean-Christophe Drey said before. This is related to parapublic and defense helicopter things for EMS, emergency medical services, and parapublic like gendarmerie and so on. And another corridor from Issy-les-Moulineaux to Saint-Cyr-l'École near Versailles. For various reasons. One was a strong opposition of the city council and so on. Jean-Christophe was reminding that yesterday, but also the lack of certifications of this platform and the French refusal from the GGSA to fly over the city. It was not possible, but nevertheless, Volocopter did with ADP quite interesting demonstrations of their skills. ADP unveiling the second vertiport in the gross big regions of Paris after 2 years before Pontoise. This was this time done near Versailles in Saint-Cyr-l'École. And Olivier Renard and all the team from Volocopter, Olivier Renard as chief test pilots from Volocopter, cruise machine over the park of the Castle of Versailles and so on. AMI was represented, our CEO and founder, and Catalyst was there. Dan Slout, I was at that time hiking in the Dolomite in Italy, but it was certainly a great day. Public acceptance and first use case. I fully agree with Darrell that urban air mobility is maybe not gonna to take off as originally estimated, because it's continued to face a lot of skepticism and some clear public oppositions, being very often seen as an hype for rich people and related to some potential risk of accidents, noise for vast majority of citizens. Secondly, and we will see later, the certifications of those platforms is far to be easy and may further down delay the certifications and therefore the entry in service. Vice versa, the regional air mobility, which use some existing platforms, and we have the chance, not only in UK, in France as well, in Germany as well, also in Italy, most probably as well, to have a very broad network of existing airfield and a small airport called regional airport and so on. And I personally see more chance to really start and take off with that new air mobility, because it will clearly, pragmatically decarbon aviations using full electric or hybrid electric. It will also, that's mean fighting in a certain extent the aviation's bashing that we are seeing, hearing everywhere and so on. And we have to do our homework. We are doing our homework, and we are bringing some solutions. This is existing airfield and structures, and we are reopening very easy and customer-friendly point-to-point regional routes. For example, Lilian, before their issues, and I really welcome the new creations of a new Lilium to continue, hopefully, and to succeed. They had a project with Urban V and the Côte d'Azur Airport to launch eVTOL networks in south of France. It was deemed to be 2026. It will certainly be delayed. If it goes by 2028 or 2030, it will already be some things. Even though this is not my domain of expertise, it's interesting also to see that the drone deliveries, the usage of commercial usage of drone, not only for, I would say, fancy purpose and so on, but really is taking over in France as well. We have had the first commercial use of drones with a company called Delive Drone, transporting medical goods and probes between hospitals and laboratories, both in Normandy as well as in Maubeuge regions near Lille in the north of France. Another further initiatives is done by the Bordeaux Airport with their innovations team, teaming with Azure Drone and the French authorities, the DGSE, to test inclusions of BVLS drone operations in the airport domain. That's mean being integrating in the airport domain, which is normally a very safe and contained area because of the air traffic and so on. And it's opens the operations of beyond visual line of sight drones and so on. Moving further, the regional air mobility readiness is just illustrating what I said before. I will go quick because the time is counted and so on. This is just a map of France, and you see that in every department, in every region, there is a regional. Likewise, Darrell was mentioning for UK, and it will be certainly interesting to extend the UK perspective and study to France. I can put you in contact with LS Airports and some others doing that. Another further interesting initiative is Val d'Oise Development Agency called CEVO. And I think Jean-François is amongst us listening to this. We last summer with Dan Slout signed an agreement with the CEVO to develop this urban and regional air mobility in the growth regions of Paris. And later on, Jean-François was also signed with Guam Mobility, Boren Daouadi, which is also an AAMI advisor, to develop a model of intra-modality transport integrating the novel air mobility. So things are moving on this domain. And in terms of upcoming events, you will pardon me to go a little bit above and beyond France, because I am traveling quite a lot across Europe and abroad. In France, we have next week's Towards Sustainable Aviation Summit, the TSAS Summit, which is organized by the 3AF community. Afterwards, in the chronology, we will have Aero Friedrichshafen in the southern part of Germany, on which the new air mobility and greener mobility is more and more represented. EBACE in Geneva, on which I may have a conflict of dates, may not be this year's be there, but last year we had some interesting panels with Aéroport de Paris, with Dan Slouts, with people from Eaton on the charging devices and so on, especially towards deliveries of emergency medical services and first response to medical illness and so on. European Rotor will be by the end of the years, again, having also some stage specific on it. The dear Catherine is also speaking and promoting also women in the urban air mobility and regional air mobility. And last but not least, we will have AirTech with the Vertical Flight Society AAM sessions, on which also Dan Slout was speaking last year and so on. I will be for and on behalf of the AAMI speaking at Aerospace Tech Weeks early March in München. And so we are all globally with our other European liaisons in Europe, so maintaining and developing contact within the ecosystem. That's pretty much for me. As a conclusions, in many countries, we notice a race to fundings for many of the French launch program. Certifications, at least for EASA in Europe, but also FAR, is obviously more difficult and hence longer to get than too optimistically envisioned. We spoke more in detail on the last forum. I didn't want to repeat too much on it. Companies, our projects are continuing to move fast. Aura Aerospace especially was in mid of December launching and celebrating the first flight of their manned two-seater now available with electrical propulsions, Integral E for electric. They also announced the groundbreaking of the US factory built in Daytona Beach to serve the US market. Volta Aero have also launched their future factory in Rochefort, which is on the Atlantic coast near the original seat of Royan. Bear in mind that Volta Aero also signed a long-term agreement and the stakeholders agreement with Kawasaki as major investors. Ascendance continue to mature their Sterna hybrid propulsion systems. Bear in mind that Ascendance is not only developing a platform, but also developing a diagnostic hybrid propulsion systems that will use on board of their platform, but also make available to some others. And in terms of propulsions, Turbotech have recently teamed already quite a long time with Air Liquide in terms of hydrogen generations, and Elixir Aircraft doing some acrobatic aircraft and training aircraft to develop. And they recently tested the first hydrogen turbo engines to be fitted on future platform. That's pretty much in the 5 given minutes. Maybe it was much too long. Sorry for that. But any questions, do not hesitate to contact me on LinkedIn or on my cell phone. Thank you very much. And again, Happy New Year. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for the organizers.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.